Communication is not just about talking. It is about energy, timing, tone, and self-respect. Most women think communication problems happen because men do not listen. But the truth is more uncomfortable. Many communication issues start with habits women don't even notice they have. Not because women are weak, not because they are emotional, but because women are taught to over-explain, over-give, and over-adjust. One of the biggest mistakes in communication is talking too much when clarity is needed. When you explain yourself again and again, you believe you are being clear. But what you're really doing is diluting your message. Confidence is quiet. Desperation is loud. Another common mistake is communicating from fear instead of self-worth. Fear of losing him. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being alone. So the message becomes softer, longer, and less direct. And the more you soften your message, the less it is respected. Many women also confuse honesty with emotional dumping. Honesty is expressing what matters. Emotional dumping is releasing everything without direction. Men do not respond to chaos. They respond to structure. Another major mistake is asking questions that are actually demands. Do you care about me? What are we? Why don't you text like before? These are not questions. These are emotional tests. And emotional tests create pressure. Pressure kills attraction. Pressure kills respect. There is also the mistake of communicating at the wrong time, trying to resolve deep emotional issues when emotions are high, when anger is loud, when disappointment is fresh. In those moments, words do not land, they collide. And perhaps the most damaging mistake of all is explaining behavior that should speak for itself. If someone cares, you don't need to convince them. If someone respects you, you don't need to remind them. If someone values you, you don't need to negotiate it. Communication is not about convincing someone to choose you. It is about expressing yourself clearly and watching how they respond. Their response is the answer. Over-communication feels loving, but it often comes from anxiety. It sounds like, I just want to make sure you understand me. I don't want there to be any confusion. I need to explain this better. But here's the truth. People understand more than you think. They just don't always care in the way you want them to. When you over-explain, you remove mystery. When you over-justify, you remove authority. When you over-apologize, you remove value. The traction grows in space. Respect grows in boundaries. Another mistake women make is communicating emotions before understanding them. Speaking while still confused. Speaking while still hurt. Speaking while still hoping. That kind of communication feels messy to the listener, and messy communication gets ignored. Strong communication is simple. It is calm. It is grounded. Instead of saying, you never make time for me and it hurts and I don't feel important and I feel like I'm always chasing you. A grounded message sounds like, I need consistency. If that's not something you can offer, I need to know. Short, clear, self-respecting. Another trap is communicating expectations without standards. Saying what you want, but not what happens if you don't receive it. If there is no consequence, your words become background noise. Many women also communicate hoping to be chosen, hoping their words will change someone, hoping their explanation will create effort. But communication is not magic. It does not transform character. It reveals it. If someone wants to show up, they will. If someone wants to understand, they will ask. If someone wants to stay, they will adjust. You should never communicate to beg for basic respect. You communicate to express truth. Then you observe behavior. Behavior is the language that never lies. Powerful communication is not loud. It is steady. It does not chase responses. It does not argue with silence. It does not compete for attention. Powerful communication starts with knowing what you tolerate, because without that, words are just noise. A woman who communicates powerfully knows when to speak and when to step back. She does not repeat herself endlessly. She does not chase closure. She does not explain boundaries more than once. She states. She observes. She decides. Another key element is emotional regulation. If your emotions control your words, your message loses credibility. Calm communication does not mean you don't care. It means you care enough to be clear. Tone matters more than content. Energy matters more than sentences. You can say the right words with the wrong energy and still lose respect. Powerful communication also avoids accusations. Instead of, "You make me feel unimportant," it sounds like, "I don't feel prioritized in this dynamic." This shifts the focus from blame to truth. And here's something very important. Silence is also communication. Not reacting immediately, not explaining everything, not responding to disrespect instantly. Silence creates contrast. Contrast creates awareness. When you stop over-communicating, people start paying attention. Not because you said more, but because you finally said less. Your value does not increase by how much you explain. It increases by how well you hold your standards. The goal of communication is not to be liked. It is to be understood. And sometimes, being understood means being willing to lose people who cannot meet you. Healthy communication starts with self-trust. Trusting that you don't need to perform to be chosen. Trusting that clarity is kinder than confusion. Trusting that walking away is sometimes the strongest sentence. Before you speak, ask yourself, am I speaking to express truth, or am I speaking to control an outcome? If it is about control, pause. Let communication come from alignment, not fear. Men respect women who communicate with certainty. Not certainty about the future, but certainty about themselves. You don't need perfect words. You need grounded presence. Say what you need. Say it once. Watch what happens next. If the behavior changes, communication worked. If it doesn't, you have your answer. Communication is not where you lose yourself. It is where you reveal yourself, and the right people will recognize it. The wrong ones will resist it. Either way, you win. Because a woman who communicates with self-respect never needs to convince anyone of her worth. She already knows it.